Now at 6, 5 native tribes get together at Downstream Casino for the preservation of their culture. We'll explain. Plus, Marion Days kicks off in 1 week. We'll preview that event. And governors of 2 states visit Pittsburgh. We'll tell you why.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Joplin is a step closer to restructuring its public transportation thanks to a grant. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. The Federal Transit Administration awarded the city of Joplin $400,000. City officials plan to use the money to restructure the public transportation system and possibly expand it.
We've been really struggling with the trolley system to maintain and keep that going to meet the needs, and we're relying more heavily now on by schedule call-in service, which is helpful. It's something at this point, but we really need a more comprehensive and dynamic programs.
I don't drive, I never have, so I have to rely on the public transportation, or whenever my daughter and son can take me to the doctor or whatever I need.
The Federal Transit Administration also gave a grant to Cherokee Nation. We reached out for comment but did not receive a response. Organizers expect Marion Days this year to draw pre-pandemic attendance numbers. They say the event that kicks off in Carthage next week could bring in 70,000 people. Celebrated since the late 1970s, the festival honors the Vietnamese American Roman Catholic faith. Visitors from all over the country and traditionally choose to camp outside. The organizers have already set up about 100 tents to accommodate them. The church says 80% of the event's organization is already complete.
It's not just about them bringing money and shopping in our community. It's about making them feel welcome and that they want to come back next year and the year after that, or bring their friends or their family members so that they have a great experience like we do every day in Carthage, Missouri.
I think it's a big change, a big celebration for every Vietnamese who is staying in the U.S. To give thanks to God and Mother Mary for their surviving from fleeing from Vietnam during the time of war.
The event has programs in English and in Vietnamese so everyone can participate. The festival, held in recognition of the Virgin Mary and to honor Vietnamese martyrs, will start on Thursday of next week. For more information, go to our website, koamnewsnow.com. The city of Joplin today announced that their 32nd Street widening project is progressing steadily. Starting Monday, a portion of West 32nd Street will be closed, specifically from Iron Gates and Arbor Road to the west side of the Westbury neighborhood entrance. The city expects the project to be completed by late fall, barring weather delays. The funding came from the Capital Improvement Sales Tax, which voters approved back in 2014. You can learn more about the progress on the KOAM News Now app. The 12th annual Degiha Language Conference wrapped up today. The event brought members of the Kaw, Omaha, Osage, Ponca, and Quapaw tribes together to celebrate their history and talk about the importance of keeping their native Degiha language alive. The conference featured speakers from each tribe who talked about their culture and experiences.
Our language is endangered, and some of the tribes don't have any fluent speakers anymore. And so we've come together because we were one before and try to revitalize our language. And some of the tribes have different levels of language programs, and some have no language programs and no speakers.
The Preservation Society's main goal is to pass down the culture to the youth to keep their traditions alive. Nothing new here. It is hot out there. Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, another hot one for us today. High temps right around 100 degrees, upper 90s to near 100. Heat advisories in effect once again on Thursday, and then also into Friday, pretty much the entire 4-state area. We have had some clouds kind of helped us out a little bit today, drop through, and there's been a few isolated little showers. You can see a couple popping up north of Table Rock Lake over into McDonald County. Besides that, it's pretty quiet across the entire Central Plains. Look at our temps. We're sitting mainly mid to upper 90s. It's 100 in Yates Center, and then you factor in the humidity, the way it actually feels. So our feels like temperature heat index is about 100 to about 102 degrees. Throughout the evening, we slide back through the 90s, 80s, only down to about 80 later on tonight. When are we going to see some relief? We'll look at that here in a bit.
See you soon. There were a couple of governors in Pittsburgh today. One was Kansas Governor Laura Kelly. The other was New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. The governors are in town to learn how New Mexico can improve its higher education institutions. They visited Pitt State Center for Reading, which stands for Research, Evaluation, and Awareness of Dyslexia, to see how it helps people with that condition.
We don't always teach educators how to teach reading. So your brain isn't wired to read. Your brain is wired to acquire language, but you don't have the software embedded at birth to read. So you have to be taught to read. Some brains are a little more agile about doing that, and it's not as hard.
I think it's so critically important that we're able to help young people learn how to read, comprehend, and you can see their abilities grow through high school and how that's connected back to their ability to learn to read and to write.
Kansas Governor Kelly also stopped by Pittsburgh's Block 22 to learn about the latest developments there. Coming up, Parsons, Kansas celebrates the anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Plus, summer's biggest party is gearing up to kick off in Southwest Missouri. We're going to take a look at the planning process of the Ozark Empire Fair. Ahead on KOAM News at 6. Parsons, Kansas today celebrates the 33rd anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Celebration was downtown. It included guest speakers, free food, a dunk tank, live music, various games and activities. The act was signed into law on July 26th of 1990. It protects the rights of people with disabilities.
It is our Independence Day. It is the day that our rights become law. The right to have access to the community, the rights to have employment, the rights to have access to the courthouse, vote. I mean, all those things that kind of all started with the ADA.
There was also a free vaccine clinic offering COVID and flu shots. The Labette County Kansas Fair is off and hopping. The fair featured a rabbit show this morning. This is the 112th year for the fair. Along with this morning's rabbit show, there was also a meat goat show and a sheep show. But it's not all about the livestock shows.
I would tell them to come watch the shows or the rodeos like that because they're really kind of cool. Because the rodeo does change every year, and the bronco ridings and stuff like that, they all happen over there in that arena. And then the bucket cast and the pig shows are kind of cool too.
Those rodeos kick off tonight at 8. Gates open at 7 p.m. with mutton busting at 7:30. Check it out. The Ozark Empire Fair in Missouri starts tomorrow, and visitors to one of the largest annual events in the area will notice some changes. Joe Hickman reports on the progress on Springfield's north side.
The Ozark Empire Fair will still have its familiar sights you'd expect this year, but the longtime home of the fair's agricultural-related events is no more, as the old arena is being replaced by a new $29 million facility that's about 70% completed, expected to be done in September.
So that arena is 4 times the size of the prior arena. The current footprint for the seating is approaching 6,700. And so it can accommodate events, including large trade shows, which bring a huge economic impact.
We're finalizing BMX. We'll have a national event in here. We got statewide wrestling tournaments. The arena's big enough to do monster trucks and bigger motorsport stuff. So instead of us being more of a regional, try to go after 1,500, 2,000 seats, we're set up to go after that 6,500 seats on more of a national level.
The arena is just part of the fairground's 30-year master plan, and with its multi-purpose setup, the new arena is already sparking more interest.
By the end of this year, we'll have well over 100 events for 2024 already booked. And there's other events we're actually discussing right now that I really can't disclose to you, but they're in negotiation that are large events that don't currently come to Springfield, Missouri.
The master plan also has other upgrades, including a new barn currently under construction, and eventually adding 400 new campsites to the current 120. Badly needed because
we have livestock shows, rodeos, and other events where the majority prefer to stay on the grounds with their cattle and horses.
It's all part of a new era for the fairgrounds as the facility strives to be more relevant outside of just the fair and become more of an economic driver.
I've been on the board coming up 15 years, and there was a point in those early years that the fairgrounds was in a horrible shape financially, and that has been corrected now for a number of years.
Again, this is the 87th fair, and the theme this year is Summer's Biggest Party. It's at 3001 North Grant Avenue in Springfield. A little later, a Diamond High School girls basketball standout commits to Missouri Southern.
Plus, the heat is sticking around the next several days. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, hot. It was humid for us today. Temperatures right around 100 degrees. We've been in a heat advisory. Also, those heat indices a little bit up there as well throughout the afternoon. Looks good, though. We have some clouds dropping through Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo just southwest of Seneca, Missouri. But heat advisories stay in effect. This is going to be tomorrow and then through Friday, and then we'll see what happens as we head into the weekend. But it's still hot. It's 94 in Carthage, a little bit cooler southwest Missouri, some thicker clouds and a few showers. 96 Miami, 97 in Fort Scott. Yates Center is sitting at 100 degrees. We're going to look at 7th and Rangeline sitting at 95. Feels like 101 across the area. And it looks like our temperatures are going to stay pretty consistent as we go through the next several days. Upper 90s in Missouri. These are heat indices. And then lower triple digits once you get out across southeast Kansas, northeastern parts of Oklahoma. The wind has made it feel at least a little bit better. We've had winds kind of gusting today. Well, mainly in that 10 to 20 range, but gusts have been a little bit higher than that. We've had winds kind of gusting 25, 30, 32 miles per hour at times. And it stays breezy as we go into Thursday. Winds gusting kind of 20 to about 25, and then much of the same as we go into Friday as well. So at least that makes things a little bit better. All right, a little batch of clouds kind of have been dropping through. A few little random showers. We're looking at Berry County, McDonald County, really from Beaver Lake, just north of Table Rock Lake. But that's it, but at least some people are getting some very light showers. Besides that, not a whole bunch going on. Still dominated by the big dome of high pressure, our heat dome, which is causing this heat wave across the area. And until that breaks down, we're going to continue with the heat. In fact, as we go toward the weekend, look, it inches in a little bit closer. There's going to be some weak waves rotating around it, giving us slight chances for showers and a few thunderstorms. But this really sits on us all the way through the middle of next week and then finally starts to break down a little bit late next week. So if you want some relief, we have to wait at least 1 week to get even minor relief. All right, let's go through the next 48 hours. Tonight, we only drop back upper 70s to near 80. We're going to have partly cloudy skies again for us tomorrow. There is a slight chance we could get a random shower. We're going to stop at about 4:30 in the afternoon. See a couple random little isolated showers. But look at our temps. 103 Stockton, 99 Miami, Parsons up to about 100 degrees. Tomorrow night, dropping back near 80. Once again, then as we go into Friday, really much of the same. Slight chance for an isolated pop-up shower. Temperatures upper 90s to near 100 degrees. Also, our heat indices are going to be up there again tomorrow. 105, 106. These are going to be up there as well as we go into Friday afternoon. All right, here's your forecast. Alert days the next 2 days due to the heat and the humidity near 100 all the way through the weekend. A couple pop-up storms over the weekend. Possible alert days Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday due to the heat increasing a bit, and then finally a little bit of relief by next weekend.
It couldn't increase more than a bit because we are bumping the ceiling right now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Thanks, Doc. John Dale's here now. Missouri Southern women's basketball gets another commitment.
Yeah, and it's a name that high school basketball fans in the area will likely know. And some exciting news for Pitt State football fans. Those stories and more coming up next. Pittsburgh State is officially the team to beat in MIAA football this season. Now that's according to both the coaches and media preseason polls released at yesterday's MIAA Media Day. The Gorillas take the top spot in both polls. We'll start first with the media poll. Now this comes after PSU went undefeated in conference play a season ago. Its closest games included a 1-point win over Emporia State and a 2-point win over Northwest Missouri. Missouri Southern down in the 8th spot after a 4-7 year last season. Not too much different in the coaches poll. Southern drops a couple of spots down to 10. Exact same in both of the polls for the top 7 teams. However, Pitt State all-conference offensive lineman Trace Jeffries says his group is focused much more on the bigger picture. They're not overly concerned with preseason rankings.
We had a decent year last year. 12-1 looks good on paper, but at the end of the day, we didn't accomplish what we wanted to, and that's a national championship. I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, but when you're a Gorilla, you know what you signed up for. Those are the expectations, so trying to get back there this year and hopefully take another step from there.
And more good news today for Pitt State football fans. The Gorilla Sports Network announces an expansion of its radio coverage of PSU football broadcasts. Now, Gorilla fans in over 40 counties throughout Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma will have the ability to listen to games on the radio. It's another step forward for the Gorillas as one of the most extensive radio networks in all of D2 athletics. More information will be on our website, koamnewsnow.com/sports. And Missouri Southern women's basketball welcomes in another recruit yesterday, and she won't have to travel too far from home to join the Lions. Grace Frazier, a rising senior at Diamond High School, is the newest commit to MSSU. As a junior with the Wildcats, she was first team All-Southwest Conference and Player of the Year as voted on by the coaches. She finished the year scoring 40 of her team's 52 points in a sectional playoff game against Fair Grove. In Major League Baseball, Cardinals wrap up their week-long road trip this afternoon with an 11-7 win over the Diamondbacks in Arizona. Big day at the plate for second baseman Nolan Gorman, 3 for 5 with 2 home runs. And the FIFA Women's World Cup is underway on Fox 14. Today, the U.S. Women's National Team in action this evening playing Netherlands in the group stage. And as you're following the competition, we're also giving you a chance to win some Fox FIFA Women's World Cup USA swag like a boomerang, nose coat, tote, and more. Just scan the QR code on your screen to complete your entry. You can find complete contest details and official rules at koamnewsnow.com/giveaway. If you're looking for a free way to watch the games, remember you can catch all of them on Fox 14. But bringing things back to Pitt State, I think that quote that we had from Trace Jeffries yesterday was one of the more telling quotes from the entire media day. He goes, it might sound crazy, but you know what you're in for when you're a Gorilla, and it's winning a national championship.
That's right. Expectations are high because that's been the pattern. We'll be right back. Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. We're going to have more on how the city of Joplin will use a federal transportation grant to improve its public transportation systems. Plus, some area youth baseball players are raising money to head to the Youth League World Series. Those stories, a lot more, of course. It's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Well, the forecast just has too many triple-digit temperatures.
Yeah, we're going to be hanging out right around 100 for the rest of the week into the weekend. May even increase a bit as we go into next week. Not enough chances for rain.
Final sports note.
Feels weird to not answer that question with Outlaws game tonight, but their season done now. Pro baseball, we're less than a week away from the trade deadline. Cardinals and Royals, obviously not in the playoff race, but still haven't made a big move yet.
We'll see if they maybe try to move a little bit younger.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. Let's make it a great evening.